Hey everyone, Evan Kirstel. Happy Monday. Amazing guest today, Richie Atwaru of Mobeus with Airglass. Richie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy Monday to you as well.
All right, thanks so much. I've been looking forward to this conversation for weeks and weeks because I'm just blown away by the technology the viewers are about to see. So before we dive into that, maybe introduce yourself and who is Mobeus?
So, Mobius was born on a simple thesis that we believe that you could have an immersive and interactive experience without putting on a headset. We thought that software only can turn the devices that we have today into Minority Report on the outside and the metaverse on the inside without any headset. Full crazy idea. I'm co-founder and chief creative officer here for the last year. We've been in stealth for 3 years. The first 2 years I was CTO, so really into the geek stuff. It uses machine learning and computer vision, which are two subsets of artificial intelligence. And what we've developed here is what we call the natural user interface. I live in New Jersey, wife and two kids, and had a pretty interesting career in enterprises before startups.
Well, it's an amazing story, and I've had the opportunity to experience Airglass firsthand. But let's get into it. Let's show the viewers, give them a taste of what the experience looks like, because it's something that you can easily understand visually. It's still tough to talk about. So if you wanted to share
Yep.
maybe a quick demo for the viewers, I think they would get a taste of this magic that you've
Excellent. So I'm going to
created.
share my screen and just confirm that you can see my screen for a second.
Perfect.
Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping. This is just my Mac. I don't have any extra hardware on it. I don't have any hardware on me. There are no sensors in my office. What you'll notice is that I'm in something that looks like a 3D virtual world. I sure am in. And if I lean forward, you're seeing my reflection of this. So you're not feeling what I'm feeling. But as I look around this room, as I move, based on the machine learning models that we've used and the real time computer vision, we're able to change what is displayed on this screen to give you a perception of depth that rivals what you feel in the AR VR environment. Again, no hardware. This works in Horizons, Metaverse, Decentraland, Unity. I'll show you some of the examples in a second. Unreal, and we're working on putting it into the Omniverse. We're part of the NVIDIA Inception program. Now, if my face is alive, my hands are alive as well. Gestures are hardened, and you could do different things with them. For example, this gesture, where I pinch my fingers together. In this particular experience, we've programmed it to kind of draw in the air. So as I draw with my hands there, you're getting a feel for the precision. I can lean in. You also notice that I kind of drew into the depth, right? By bringing the physical and the digital together. I'll use a quick gesture to erase that. My hands can activate with this across the board so I can get involved. Let me show you quickly some of these showcases that we've worked on. So I'm going to instruct this to kind of pull up a couple of showcases here. As you can see, the air in front of this screen is mapped to my hand. So I have this hover effect, right? And this is a collaboration showcase. Here I am in a different environment. I'll pull up my slides. Imagine you're about to present your slides, right? And someone's in here with you. They can get this immersive and interactive experience. I'm just going to go ahead and hold this slide and pull this slide forward so we can turn this into an immersive and interactive experience. Want to change the slide, quick gesture to change it. I can also swipe in the air, put my hands to the side and swipe it out that way, or grab the slide and just push it back. So we call this interactive air and immersive glass. I'll show you two really quick things here. This is a
Please.
healthcare. Go ahead.
No, this is every time I look at Airglass, my mind just is racing with ideas. So yeah, please continue.
Just a healthcare use case. This is a Salesforce record. So imagine you're pulling, a doctor and a rep into here. There's a 3D object that's around here, right? So this is a PDF, right, that describes the drug. This is a Salesforce record that's in real time that you can point to and draw. And this is a 3D model of a heart that's kind of beating off of simulated data. You can see that I'll grab it here with my hands, move it around, bring that artery forward, and then lean in and look right into that artery. So this works with any 3D model, any virtual world, any digital twin. Last thing I'll show you, this could be a scene from Finding Nemo. As you can see, I'm leaning forward and leaning back here to kind of see into this animation as it's playing. I'm going to use some gestures just to pull this around. Lean in, lean out. This is equivalent of an animated movie that's playing on my computer that I'm looking at from different perspectives. You can have fly-throughs in here. So if I lean to the side, you'll see this thing that says fly through, and I'll lean in. What's happening here is the camera is spinning while I'm able to look around the movie at the same time, right? If I put up my hands in the air and make that gesture again, you'll notice that I'm kind of drawing into a 3D movie while the camera is moving at the same time. I'll remind everyone that this is software only. So this is machine learning to kind of figure out your viewing intention and your interactive intention. This is going to stop. I'm just going to spin this back here for a second just to show you what this looks like. Computer vision in real time. This uses any commodity web camera, and it's the natural user interface coming to life. So I'll switch over here and stop sharing so we can get back to the conversation.
Oh, it's amazing. I kind of want to stay in the immersive world because it looks so great. So this is an application that I've downloaded and tried, and it runs on my Mac, not anything particularly exciting, off the shelf. So where do you see, where's your positioning given the million different collaboration apps? Is this an overlay, an underlay, a value add to a Zoom or a Teams or a plain old Skype call? I mean, how do you fit in this world of video communications, collaborations, and online, sharing?
Yeah, so first of all, we just started to show the technology. So if this is a 10K run to this world of immersion and interactivity, we're about 300 meters into the race, right? So it's hard to tell what the killer use cases are going to be. The only thing that we know is if you compare it to the Apple Vision Pro, all you see is there's a different path to an immersive and interactive future. There's one with hardware, which is amazing, and then there's one with software, which is equally as amazing. Now
so no glasses required, no headsets, no Oculus. However, I imagine with those devices, there's a whole nother range of experiences, and you're looking at that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a product thesis that collaboration is probably the place where this matters. So we're starting to productize in collaboration. We are working on a beta right now, which has some of the 3D aspects in it. It doesn't have everything that you just saw. As we come out with V1, we're going to have that. The promise that we're trying to fulfill there is that you can define your virtual worlds that you want to meet in. So we're looking for a prompt to world. I would like to meet Evan in a world that is octagon shaped, with art from the Renaissance scene with the brand colors of the company that he works in, right? We want to set up that 3D space for you to be really customized to the experience that you want. And by the way, take the last 10 to-dos from Monday.com, turn it into swipeable cards, and that's where we want to be. So that's what we're working on in the collaboration space. But as you mentioned, the use cases are wild. So I don't know if the sound came through. When I was moving my hands through those vertical bars, I was playing like a piano over there. Think about the following use case. Right now, we make music to dance, right? But if I can calculate your shoulders and your hands and your hips and your eyes and your head, I can attach the sitar to your shoulders, the bongos to your hips, and now you can dance to make music instead of make music to dance, right? So the application of the natural user interface to be able to turn the body into a photonic peripheral, for a lack of better words, to augment and advance what we can do with the mouse and the keyboard is the real opportunity here. Think about children's games where now a child can grab a letter and move it around in the air, right? My kids like to run around between a set of boxes. Obviously the metaverse and the 3D world and holding something and spinning it and seeing it make sense. But we think this opens up a whole new world of use cases. They're not going to be ready in 2023. We think this is a marathon, but that's where our purview is. We're going to take a stab at collaboration because, quite frankly, the collaboration software is about a decade and a half behind. No offense to the vendors, it's just that the consumption of video just accelerated by 15 years. So Teams, Zoom, everything else is about 10 iterations behind. So we think we'll take a stab there with product, but we're looking for a horizontal play.
Fantastic. And when it comes to that hybrid work world, you talk about impromptu conversations and the water cooler. How is Airglass different than the traditional dial up, dial in, start a meeting kind of scenarios? How does it enable those water cooler
Yeah, so
conversations?
in the productization category, we're competing with two things. We're competing with the tech, which is we believe immersion and interaction matters, but we're also competing on design pattern. So the design pattern that we have in Airglass is it's more of a telephone than a video conferencing system where you have it up and running and I want to talk to Evan. I just dial Evan, I connect with him. If somebody calls me at the same time, I can put Evan on hold. I can have a conversation with that person, or I can merge the calls together. We use it internally at Mobeus. Now we're a small team. We use it internally at Mobeus for those ad hoc conversations, because what we're finding is when we put our productivity into boxes on the calendar, it's really, really hard to do anything other than what the meeting title was. And that's not the nature of business, right? So we're mixing this kind of real-time design pattern with the technology at the same time. Most recently in beta, we introduced something called Beams. And if you want to join the beta program, go ahead and join it so you can see what Beams are about. Beams allow you to record yourself and send it to someone else so they can play it in a meeting if you're not there. So imagine you're at Accenture and you can't make a client meeting, but you're the expert on cloud. Now you can record 30, 47 seconds on cloud, send it to that account exec, and that account exec can now play it in the meeting. So this asynchronous presence to be able to be in multiple meetings at the same time is one of the ways how we're differentiating with the design pattern.
Fantastic. So you mentioned Accenture. You do have some real world feedback and real world users beyond the internal team. Tell us about the feedback and the experience that people have seen using Airglass, in person.
So Accenture specifically, first, as a disclaimer, Accenture is the only institutional investor in our cap table. We're a part of the Accenture Spotlight program, and we're very, very honored to be there. We're running pilots inside of Accenture, and I can wrap up the feedback in three categories. First is, because this is a different design pattern, it requires a little bit of training and a little getting accustomed to, right? It's like going from DOS to GUI, right? It takes a little bit of familiarization. But as you go down that path, you get more and more excited about it. And as mastery builds, you start to extract the value from it. So that's what I would consider to be in the challenge category. In the opportunity category, one of the things that you notice is that presence and content is being mixed at the same time. So you were seeing me and the slide at the same time in the depth. I think when you played with the early alpha version, you were able to see that as well, where you were behind your desktop, so to speak. That's really interesting because now you can work and meet at the same time. Right now, you and I are meeting, so I can't work because if I pull up my screen, it blocks what we see. But when we're able to put the presence behind the desktop and make the desktop transparent, I could be in Slack typing like crazy while still looking directly at you and seeing you because I'm looking through the desktop and being able to do that. We see people very excited about that because the alternative to that, Evan, is I'm going to minimize this, not see you, and then do this and pretend like I'm actually looking at you at the same time, which has a really, really high cognitive mental health load to it. So that's number one. The second thing that we're seeing is this use of asynchronous presence as the beams. People seem to love this, right? This idea that a CEO, let's say you did a big acquisition, and tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., if you're a large company, there's 400 client meetings happening at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You can't be in every single one of those meetings at the same time, but you could put together a 60-second video of what that acquisition means to everyone. And every sales rep at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning can have you live in that conversation. And it doesn't have to start with that 60 seconds at the right moment when the client asks about the acquisition. Boom, let's play Evan, our CEO. Here's his thoughts on it. So those are the two things where we're seeing the most excitement. We think we'll continue to discover new ways to use this mixing of media in depth and the immersion and interactivity. The rest of the stuff is cool, but that's where the real rubber is hitting the road. Work and meet at the same time, be in multiple meetings at the same time.
Fantastic. So when I saw the announcement of the Apple Pro Vision headset, I got the same kind of tingle up my spine that I got when I looked at Airglass the first time. Like, wow, this is really different. What was your impression on that experience, and did it sort of validate the idea of a unified reality in some way? Did you say, "Wow, this is exactly the track we're on," and you know, it's very simpatico
So
with
I'm a
what
big
we're
Apple
doing?
fan, first of
Right,
all.
as am I.
So anytime Apple enters the market, I'm very excited about it. I'm in a very precarious position here because we have a sort of a slight competitive angle to Apple. So I'm like
Mm,
a fanboy, but a slight competitor at the same time. Very strange emotional things to normalize in yourself. I think Apple has done an incredible job at doing what Apple does, which is to shape the market, right?
mm,
Not necessarily just compete. There is no question in my mind that there's a place for full immersion with the headset. And as the edge computing get better, I mean, if you're looking at the Qualcomm chips, you're going to realize that the edge computing is going to get much better. Apple's also obviously running on their own silicon. As batteries get better, as everything gets lighter and thinner, I can't wait for the day when I have 32K of things augmented over my eyes. But I will tell you that that's not the only modality for immersion and interactivity.
mm.
If I'm going to watch a Michael Jackson concert, for an hour and I want that full immersion interactivity, absolutely, I'm going to put them on. But if I'm just talking to my Chase banker tomorrow, I'm not putting on a headset for that, right? No
Mm.
offense to Chase. So we believe that there is an alternate path. This experience here, and what I just showed you works on televisions as well. So if you wire a camera up to a Samsung TV, you can take your hands and swipe it to change the channel. If
Oh,
you
I
so
love that.
desire, that world also has the same promise as the hardware world. From an investment and an investor perspective, we just look at it as investors can now have an exposure to the category in something that can scale at the speed of software.
Love it. So tell us about how, if someone's watching, either an individual or organization, they can get it involved in some way, sign up for a beta or a trial or download the client. Where are you in that process of rolling out
Go to
the software?
Mobeus.com, join the beta. Alan Lepofsky and our Chief Growth Officer are going to walk you through the process. I think you know Alan very well. He's our evangelist. What we're looking for right now is people who want to try it to give us the harshest amount of feedback that we can get.
Mm,
When you're defining and blazing the new frontier like this, there are two ways to go about it, right? You can go about it the way where you kind of put a stake in the sand and say everybody shall follow this process, or you go to the market and say, how do we meet the market where the market is? So we want to take that second route. We want to get as much feedback as we can. Come into the beta program. We'll give you full access to it. You can go full Tom Cruise as you like, as people say, or you can start Tony Starking. But we've got some collaboration use cases, but we also have some entertainment use cases. We have one specific use case we're working on where it's a timeshare kind of experience where you're being sold on a timeshare
mm.
property. And now you can fly through the property and immerse in it. And the
Oh, very
person
cool.
will walk you through and you can look around at the same time. So we're not just looking for people that are trying to replace Zoom and Teams. We're looking
Mm.
for anyone that wants to drive deeper engagement and conversion with customers that believe that an immersive interactive experience can deliver on that.
Fantastic. Tell us about the team. You must have had a lot of technology that had to come together at the right time in the right place, computing and processing and CPU and
Yeah.
DSP and
So
what? Yeah.
co-founder here is a gentleman by the name of Mike Sutcliffe. Mike has a 35-year career at Accenture. He's built various digital
Mm.
businesses to the tens of billion dollars of performance before. Mike is a technologist at heart. He's as young and vibrant as any new exciting teenager or early 20s around technology. So that's Mike. The rest of the team is made up of designers and engineers. Now, right
Mm.
now, we're about 20 something people. At one point, we were about 60 or
Mm.
60 plus. We're sizing up and sizing down based on what skills we need. If you think about some of the C++ and Rust engineering, you only need about 6 months of that. You don't need that team to be on for 6 years, so to speak. And we're trying to be as capital efficient as we can. But I'll tell you about the journey a little bit. For the first 12 months of this, we were pretty sure it's not going to work. Like there was literally no breakthrough in the first 12 months. About a year and a half in, we started to see it work a little bit. That's when we started to accelerate our patents. But when it first started working, the fans were going off. You could do it about 6 frames per second. It was jittery, right? We had to decompile a lot of code that was running in the CPU, move it to the GPU, optimize it. About 2 years in, we got it to run as an executable. And about 6 months ago, we got it to run on the web. So this actually runs on the web. You can now build a website that is immersive and interactive. We are
Oh, wow.
racing to the JavaScript and 3JS SDKs for that because we think the web development community, at a minimum, would want the immersivity. I don't know how much interactivity is going to drive commerce, but right now, if you go to a 3D website, you're limited to the mouse. If you could just start to look around, the engagement is different. The relationship with the content, the cognitive aperture of what you can transfer is completely different.
Fantastic. And what's next? Can you give us a peek into the roadmap? You must have a lot of features looking at under the cover, lots of tough decisions to make and trade-offs.
Yeah. So I'll tell you from
what can
a
you share?
yeah, I'll tell you from a core tech perspective what's next. So core tech perspective is one is we want to improve our AI model supply chain. So right now we're a mixture of open source and a couple of other models. We want to go on the NVIDIA kind of stack. NVIDIA to us has some of the best performant models in market, whether it's out on the silicon or in the cloud. And so that's a part of what we're doing. The second is we really want to get to that prompt to world kind of experience where I can define and customize what I'm looking for by just typing text in. And then third is there's a hardware path here as well that is going to happen that we can leverage. So right now, what you saw is using any webcam in the world. But these screens are eventually not going to be as dumb as they are. Right now, it's millions of pixels on one camera. You put a LiDAR on this, and we have some examples with LiDAR. When you mix LiDAR with what I just showed you, I can pick up a virtual ball, throw it in the air, throw it across the screen, and you can catch it with your hands.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
those are the 3 dimensions of the technological roadmap that we're going through. From a collaboration standpoint, as we think about how we compete with design, one of the interesting things that we want to do is we want to build the equivalent of what I would consider to be a teleprompter layer that is invisible to everyone else. And we're working through the security engineering on that, that only you can see, that offers you this real-time kind of coach around your presentation so that you can have the right words, the right content, the right data, right everything else while sharing your slide without everyone else seeing what the assistant layer is for you.
Well, as a creator, please hurry up on that. That sounds absolutely fantastic. So we're heading into the summer, Richie. No rest for co-founders like yourself. What are you looking forward to over the summer and into the busy season of tech from September?
Well, look, my kids are 5.5 and 4, so they
Nice.
want to play and they can play now, right? So I'm looking forward to some good times outside with everyone. And more importantly, we've been at this for about 3 years now. I need a bit of a cognitive break, so I'm probably going to take some time off this summer as well.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for joining us, sharing the vision, literally, and everyone go to Mobeus and check it out. It is absolute joy to experience. And thanks for watching. Look forward to your feedback on Twitter and LinkedIn. So bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, Richie.